What's up, YouTube? Blaze here, and today I am doing a different type of video. Okay, about a year ago, I made a tutorial video on how to use the software VCFace. And, well, I said I was gonna make a tutorial on how to use Vroid Studio, which is the software that I use to create the models that you see in all my videos. However, it was an idea that was in the back of my mind because I got so busy with all the reaction videos, I haven't had the chance to do that yet, which is why I'm making this video today. Also, I brought back this old model just because, well, I thought it'd be a good idea to go with this video. Okay, so first things first. First, you're going to need to download Vroid Studio, and there's two ways you can do that. The first is going to Vroid Studio's website directly from any web browser that you use and downloading it there. The second option is, and this is for those who have a Steam account, can download it directly free from Steam. I kind of recommend you download it from Steam because that way you can get notified on when there are new updates available for Vroid Studio. Okay. Once it's done downloading, the next step is to go into Vroid Studio. And once you get there, you'll see a screen like this. Now, yours won't be filled up with as many models as I created because I created quite a few. Even a couple female models. But I'm hoping someday I can give these models to someone who might be interested in VTubing themselves. And, well, the reason why I have a copy of one of my original models, because I was using that as the base to construct some of the later models. Now, down here, you're going to see 3 sample avatars that are a default program of Vroid Studio. However, if you're planning to use those models for anything, consider following the terms of use used by Vroid Studio because they're already owned by somebody. Okay, now first you want to create new. This screen here pretty much asks you to select a base to start with. You can either choose feminine, which is a female, or masculine, which is a male. For all intents and purposes, just for creating this model, we're going to be going with the masculine. It should take a minute to load. Alright, there we go. Model will appear in a few seconds. Keep in mind this thing kind of runs at a delicate pace. Well, I wouldn't push it too far. So try to be patient is what I mean. Okay. Now that you have your base set up, here's what you can do with it. The first tab you'll see here is the face sets. Pretty much these are the standard default faces you can pick from in case you want to proceed with making a model quickly. Over here you can set the parameters for how the avatar can look, as well as the expressions on its face. Next, we're going into the eye sets, where you could basically choose a preset for the eyes, which has its own form of pupils. And as for the color, well, you're going to have to choose that yourself. That you're going to have to do on your own once you pick something. Just keep in mind that whenever you go and pick one of the defaults, there is a good chance that both looks that would define as both feminine and masculine and are going to be in here, so keep that in mind unless you have a specific design in mind. Next up are the irises. And for those who already don't know this, well, that's pretty much how you determine the color of your eyes. The type of irises you can pick, it's pretty much the same set as the eyes itself. Well, really it all depends on your personal preference. Over here you can customize the textures in case you want to get a little creative with the iris, just in case you have something you don't have in mind. Again, these are parameters that pretty much set up, that pretty much focus on adjusting shapes and sizes. Over here, you got your color. Now, as for the three buttons here, both eyes, R eye and left eye, that pretty much just means you can choose to have one color for both, or you can choose to have individual colors for each eye, depending on what you want to put into your avatar. Or as for example, this is your color wheel. Here you can choose what colors you want to go with. All you have to do is adjust the slides. Like so. Here we have the highlights. You can choose any design you want for the reflection. You can also adjust the color on how it's done. Then you have the scaletus, which are pretty much the back part of the eye. In case you want to change that up, feel free to do so. You can even change the color, like in case you want to go wild with the eye design and all that. Next we have the eyebrows. It's pretty much self-explanatory with all this, including in changing the color. Or you can choose whatever style you want from the presets, or you can make your own. You can even add the textures and customize and change the color, as well as set the parameters. Next we have the eyelids. Now this is unique because you can change it the way the eye looks in certain ways. You have three colors over here to choose from. You can customize that if you want to. Next is the eyeliner. This is in case you want to make it look like your model is wearing makeup or anything. The parameter for the texture, the editing textures, the parameters, and changing the color itself is self-explanatory. And you have dozens of combinations to work with, so feel free to go wild. Same goes with the eyelashes. You pick something you want, you can add the texture and change the color. Next is the nose. Now I know how some character designs have different noses, different types of noses is what I mean. Here you can choose whatever you want. You can also adjust the skin tone, add the textures, and of course set the parameters if you want to make it big or small. Next we have the mouth. Again, you can change up all this. You can even set the parameters. You also have the option of adding specialized teeth like vampire teeth, shark teeth. The vampire teeth are for if you want to look like a vampire, like my friend Xander Crowley. The shark teeth, themselves, well, that's pretty much if you want a model that has similar features to the Vtuber Gargura, which is a tiny little shark hybrid character. You can also adjust the type of mouth you want with the last two perimeters. You get more options when you're in photo mode for when it comes to customizing the teeth. Here you can work on the inside of the mouth. I'm not sure why you want to do that, but like I said, you can go wild. It's the same with the lips. However, you have to pick one first before you can do all the editing. And then there's the cheeks. Same as the lips. Here, you can change the skin tone of your entire avatar. In case you feel like you want to make it look like something that isn't already in the default. Okay, this is one of my other personal This is one of my personal favorite features. Here you can choose to add face paint like a majority of anime characters. You can pick what you want, and when you decide on a design, I might as well show this for creation purposes. Here you can choose to add the texture. Or change up the color, make it a custom. Kind of like I did with the fox whiskers, like I do with all my models. Well, except for this one. However, if you're really going to get into the details, I'd recommend you rig up your computer with some drawing hardware there, because, well, when it comes to being artistic and everything, the mouse isn't always the best way to go, if I'm being totally honest. Here you can change the expression editor, or to change the default expression of your avatar. It has a bunch of presets already, and if you open any of these tabs here, they have perimeters just like the rest of all the other tabs, just in case you want to take an interesting spin. Alright, so the next tab, we have hairstyles. This is pretty much self-explanatory. Here you can choose whatever hairstyle you want. Of course, if you want to get a little creative, once you choose one of the presets, that's here for the overall style. Well, you can customize it however you want. Now the next tabs are for specific areas, whether you want resets or you want to make your own custom textures. Keep in mind there's also both masculine and feminine hairstyles. It's up to you to see how you want to and see what you want to go with, because there is literally hundreds of design possibilities, so there's literally dozens of different ways you can design it, so the possibilities are endless. Next, we got the back. Pretty much self-explanatory here. Overall hair is where you can use the overall custom style, depending on your preference. The extensions are for both the front and the back. Whatever you feel like doing, depending on what your reference is for your model. Well, you can go ahead and choose from any of those. The side, it's pretty much as self-explanatory as the rest. You can choose it however you want to do it. Then there's a Hoji. I don't know what this is for, but you've probably seen a lot of cartoon and anime character designs with these types of weird hair on the top of their heads. If you want to go for that, feel free to do so. Extra, well, this adds just extra stuff to it. And the base hair, well, it pretty much depends on what you want to go with. You can even change the color. For all intents and purposes, I'm just gonna pick something real quick to give you guys a bit of a demonstration. Note that I'm not going to be using this in future videos. So keep that in mind. Okay. Once you pick one of the hairstyles, you can customize it by either editing the hairstyle or the hair bounce. Which I believe is the bone group for the hair, which gives it its bouncy flow depending on what you're looking for. If you like anything with the design, feel free to save it as a custom just in case you don't want to lose your progress. Now here's the body. This determines the size of your avatar's body as well as its height. The presets are fixed, so you can either choose between the feminine body type or the masculine body type. One of the new key features with some of the newer updates to Vroid Studio is it shows how tall your avatar is in centimeters. Because everywhere else other than the US measures through centimeters. Where we measure in height, measure in feet and inches. You can adjust the size of the body. You to make it taller. You can choose how big you want to make the head in case you want to do one of those movie style characters. You can even custom add the pre-textures, just in case there's anything specific you want to go with. Here is the length, the thickness, and the width of the neck. Of course, that's pretty self-explanatory. You can choose whether or not to soften the collarbone. For masculine avatars, this will be a key feature if you want to or not. Basically, this lets you show the Adam's apple within in a male's throat. Here you can adjust the shoulders to any particular way you want. Chest size is probably best recommended for feminine, and in case, well, you want some big hooters. Sorry, I couldn't figure out the best way to explain it without triggering red flags. I'm not sure what the chest prominence is. I'm gonna have to look into that if I ever make another female avatar. The position, well, it determines on which way the assets go. The split, well, that's kind of self-explanatory within itself. Okay, the arm length determines how long or short you want to make the arms. Same with the finger and the hand size. It determines on how big or small you want to make them. Then there's torso length, which allows you to either stretch it out to make your model look a little taller or shorter, depending on your preference. The waist is kind of like if you want to show a few extra pounds. And I am not judging here. This is a judgment-free zone here. The leg length allows you to determine how tall or short your avatar's legs are, and that's also another key piece, whether you want to make a tall or short avatar. The foot size determines how big or small you want to make the feet. So pretty much with these options, and I'd have to just encourage you just to play around with it if you ever had the time. Okay, the next part, well, is another personal favorite of mine, the outfit section. You can choose between any of the presets for the whole set, and thanks to a lot of the updates Vroid Studio has received in the last couple years, they have more customized costumes for specific themes. In the end, though, it pretty much just determines on what you're looking for. Also, keep in mind there's both costumes for both male and female, even though it states that it claims it's gender neutral. But, like I said, it all depends on what you want to go with. Like this, for example. Not bad, right? Here you can choose whether or not to add individual costume outfit parts, just in case you want to customize anything. There's at least dozens of options to choose from for both male and female avatars, so I recommend just experimenting to find the style that works for you. It's the same with the bottoms. Dresses, that's pretty much recommended for the female avatar, but it works pretty much the same as the tops and the bottoms do. The neck accessories, this is pretty much in case you want to add some fancy jewelry to spice things up, either that or the classic ties, eyes, or anything else you can think of. Like I said, feel free to experiment with it. Arm accessories can range from wristbands to gloves, hubs, and it's pretty much similar to how the neck accessories work. Basically, just choose something that fits with you. The inner top is kind of like both a tank top and a bra for the avatar. Mainly because, well, if you don't want to encourage, well, certain things, I recommend you do this. Also, there is no option going commando because they require you to at least pick something for this. It's the same with the inner bottom. The only difference is there's only two options available, and they're basically determined on your avatar's gender. The next we got is the socks, and these are pretty much whatever you can think of if you want to add it to the outfit. Keep in mind though that some of the shoes with some of the outfits don't show the socks. Just in case you want to pick something that goes with it or not. That's up to you. Lastly, there's the shoes. You can choose from a variety of different types of shoes, all the way up to boots. In the end, it pretty much just depends on what you want to go with. You can also choose whether or not to add the texture, as well as change the whole perimeters. Even save it as a custom item, in case you want to do a little customization and you want to keep it. But because if you don't, you'll end up risking losing all your customization. Now here you can add accessories. In the beta version of Vroid Studio, you weren't able to do this, and you were pretty much had to be as creative as possible with it. Kind of like for customizing ears, if you want to make it look like it has animal features, or glasses, whatever you want to go with. With the new version right now, you can pretty much choose from, well, either cat ears or glasses. Now there's two types of glasses. One is thick. The other is thin. And I think it's either based on the and I think it might be based on the frames and not the lenses themselves. So I think it has to do with the frames. Now, here you can choose to add two types of furry ears. Cat ears, which is the base of what I designed my ears off of, or rabbit ears if you want to go classic rabbit style. But for this purpose, I'm just going to show you guys what the cat ears would look like. Now, this is what they look like at first. If you want to dive deeper into the customization, then feel free to change the parameters. You can change the shape depending on what you're looking for. Or however, you're going to have to adjust certain parts when it comes to it. That was the customization for the glasses. Let me show you the customization for the ears. Now here you can choose how much fur you want. It's the type of fur that comes out of the ears. Tip roundness, just in case you want to make the ears rounder, just in case you want to go for something like a mouse or a raccoon look. It all depends on your preference. You could choose to shrink down the ear size to make it smaller. You can also adjust the shape depending on what you want. These are for the other shapes make it longer, while the first one makes it shorter. The other ones are individual fur volumes, which all depends on what you want to choose. Okay, so the third one, the first shape is if you want to bend it downwards, like certain types of dogs. The other just makes it a little longer. This one makes them bigger, like in case you want to go with something like a kangaroo or something. Again, it's all on your choice. And this one is for if you want the ears to stand straight up. Up like how I did with some of my previous prototypes. The fur volume is pretty much the same. In the end, it all depends on what you want. Here's the final one, which is look. This allows you to add last minute features. Well, actually, this allows you to add outline if you want to make it more like a little cartoonish, like my cyberpunk model, for example. However, depending on what you're going to be using to record or videos or stream with, some can handle the CPU who process a lot better than others, so just keep that in mind. There's also rim light, which is the intensity, which adds a white line to everything. Shading, this is pretty much adds a little extra shade around the face and the body if you want to. Eye alignment pretty much lets you choose how you want to have your eyes adjusted. As for this is the bones. It's usually for the general purpose of bouncing, and in features like hair and stuff. But keep in mind that it might be best if you don't want things to look all cattywampus. You can click this check mark to prevent excessive shaking. And just in case you want to keep everything the way it is. But now, moving on to the last part of the segment. Well, last couple parts. Keep in mind, though, when it comes to uploading in certain features, it'll show that I'll probably not respond. I don't know if it has something to do with the computer you use or the software itself. I don't know when the next patch update's going to be. Okay, for the photo booth, this is pretty much self-explanatory if you wanted to take a picture of your avatar. You could choose facial expressions. Here, I believe you can customize the teeth a lot better with the mouth. I'm not totally sure on that, so don't go by me. This one is poses and animations. Pretty much in case you wanna give a little action to your avatar. are like this. And if you want to stop the animation, you can press the pause button right next to the camera button. Alright, here is where you can add background images. You can either change the current color of the background that your avatar is in, or even if you have personal photos that you want to add to it, feel free to press the import background picture and go through your files and choose whatever photo you want. And then for the final option, if you don't want the background picture in, feel free to remove it here. Wind, and it pretty much is a special effect depending on which angle you want to go with, in case you want to add a little extra effects to the picture. Post-processing, I believe, adds certain filters to the background and image, in case you want to get a little weird, get a little funky with it. Here you can adjust the size of your picture. As a default, when it comes to preset sizes, it'll usually adjust to whatever size window your computer monitor is set up at. I'd recommend you keep it like this just in case you don't want things to go a little weird. Now the second final option is choosing how you want to export the model. If you want to be able to use it in certain programs like VCFace, Lupit, or Vtuber Maker or Studio, you have to export it as a VRM. It saves as a personal file to your hard drive. And I also recommend, if you don't want to mix up anything with any other files you have, I recommend creating a folder as a position to basically store all your avatars like this. I'm going to be deleting this later. This is just for test purposes only. Now, once you create a folder to separate all your files from each other, all you have to do is just press the export button. And upload the information you want. Actually, no. All you have to do is just press the export button. Keep in mind the program occasionally crashes when doing this. Now, over here you can see the information on what's involved in your model. Like if you want to choose to reduce the polygons, materials, or the bones. It all depends on what you want to do, really, or if you want to export it as is. After this, you'll end up seeing something like this. Thanks to the new Vroid update recently, there's two types of VRM files. VRM 0.0, which is the basic standard avatar. The next one is VRM 1.0. Oh, if you're going to export this to any of the linked apps that are associated with Vroid, it's recommended to check if any of the apps are v.1 compatible before using it. Otherwise, just go with this. Now, here you have to enter information with the avatar. The only two required items are the title, which could be the name of the avatar, for instance, and the other requirement is the name of the creator. The rest is, well, optional. Avatar personality is where you can assign a personality to it. You can choose by only the creator, those with explicit authorization, which means you need permission from the original creator or anybody if you're open to publicly sharing. These three icons can determine what apps you can use it for. Depictions of violence, which is recommended for avatars you want to throw in apps that are all about fighting. These types of acts, I won't say it specifically on here just to keep it brand friendly, but I believe it's mostly for certain apps, like I was talking about with the violence, or like if you want to use it like an MSR preference, but you do you. Commercial use is where you get to add it for whether it can be used by corporations or non-charity. You'll get more information like this in the Vroid Hub. Here you can choose what type of license you want to register your avatar under, or for redistribution purposes. I recommend choosing one of the types of licenses just in case you want to redistribute it, but also make sure it's legally protected. You can also choose whether or not to have redistribution prohibited. Once you're done with all the options, you can press the export button. Now, the second to last one is upload to Vroid Hub. For this you're going to need to take a couple of extra steps. First, you're going to need to either log in or sign up to the virtual or website known as Pixiv, because Pixiv is associated with Vroid. In fact, they're the creators behind Vroid Studio. You can choose to log in with the credentials or sign up if you already have them, or sign up with the website if you don't. Once you do that, depending on your internet connection, you can instantly go to Vroid Hub and basically customize your avatar there. Now, for the last part of the video, because of how my internet connection is right now, I won't be able to take you to Vroid Hub. I may include that in a short or add it to a part 2 of this video. Or make a part 2 of this video. Oh, and explain the rest of the details on what you can do in Vroid Hub after you uploaded your model, all that. Also, like I said, it's recommended if you have any drawing equipment, like you can you can use like a Wacom tablet or anything else related to that, it's best recommended to do so. Oh, that way you can get the best results you want. For drawing purposes. So this concludes the Vroid Studio tutorial. Well, if you guys like this video, please leave a like, drop a comment down below. Also, please feel free to hit the subscribe button and get notified on when I post new videos. I'll also leave all my social media links in the description in case any of you guys want to contact me through my various social media accounts, in case you have any questions or comments that you don't want to add in the comments section. Until next time, see ya.